Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Brian Whitten and ET Art. I'm going to call this one the last lesson because I think it is actually the last lesson, and it's actually a very important one. If we have a look at the rock on the screen, that's the one I finished off my last video with, which was New Kids on the Block. The two videos I put at the end of that video, where I've taken off this rock, were mind-blowing to say the least, and rather frightening, really quite frightening actually when you see some of the imagery and the beings and facial appearance of some of the people that are on that. It is really quite frightening. So I would imagine those leaders that are making the wrong decisions still are still making wrong decisions. They're going to regret that process. If we come back to the TV now, I will discuss the very important matter and lesson we're getting right here in a very short period of time. But before that, I do actually want to show you some more images off that rock, which is why I wanted to show you that at the start. I know taking the videos like this and the TV doesn't work out very well, but I just want to show you that we're actually getting a very deliberate line drawn around this point here. This shape here has got a very deliberate line on it, and there's highlighted points here, there's a highlighted point here and here, and I want to show you something. But actually nowhere on the globe this is. It's actually talking about a country, and I'll show you what it is. This country, Sri Lanka. I know that's what it is because I'll show you a few images of it, and it highlights this city here, this one here, Colombo, this one here, and it also highlights on another part of the rock, this island with the lighthouse on it down here. I'll show you where they all are. I will go through this one here first. Now I'll just let that play, and I will move through here just so we can get a little bit closer to those portions that we actually want to watch. And I'll let this play just for a bit. We get highlighted these points here. There's one point up here that gets highlighted, and on this side, in this portion here, you see, like I said, I know when I do this with the television, it doesn't photograph very well. It's nowhere near like looking at the original, especially on this television. That's what we're seeing here, and you're getting imagery as you go through this. I might put this one, I won't put this one at the end because there is another one I actually want to put at the end. But I just wanted to show you initially that that shape here is more, without doubt, the shape of Sri Lanka. When I go back to there, you can see that that is the shape we're looking at, and I'll show you a few things on it that make it definitely the case. Okay, I just want to show you once that one is where the highlighters are, so in other words where we're getting our attention drawn. They normally do that with like a shiny piece of, a shiny reflector or something of that nature. I'll just let that play. The other thing that you see when you do this, on this portion of the rock here, you get a rather, well, like a lion's head or an ape's face. At other times it looks like a monkey. The one thing I do want to do is get it to where it looks a bit like a monkey, which is up here. I'll just let that play. The reason I wanted to show you that is because there is a mountain right in the middle of Sri Lanka. Well, actually, it's not right in the middle, it's a little bit more north, and it's called the Lion's Mountain, and it's the one with all the infrastructure built in at the top of it. I'm just going to move this down here slowly to see if I can't get at the point where it actually looks a bit like a monkey's face in here. About there. You start to see the nostrils come out here. I'll do an insert of a picture for you because I know you don't see it real clearly when I do this. just about here is its nostrils here, and there's a monkey's face in here. And there are monkeys, like I say. The island itself has the mountain right here, out in that part there. And I just wanted to show you that you're getting these highlighters coming up here. I did want to show you the monkey, and then I'll show you some other bits and pieces. Now this is another part of the very same rock, but here what we're getting told is the south coast of Sri Lanka here. This is where we're told to have a look at this island here. I'm just going to press play and I'll show you how we know where we are outside of the line drawn on the rock there. Now is when I turn the light down and I start using the external light source, which is how you see most of the information that you see. You're getting really highlighted here, which is generally how they do this. They'll do a face like this, and then your highlighter will come out up here, and it's saying, look at this. You know, go and have a look at that bit. When you go there, on the map, Google Earth has that little island with a lighthouse on it. I just want to let this play for a little bit, not too long, because like I said, some of these will go for 5.5 minutes each, some of them 25. It depends on what I actually find. I just wanted you to be aware that we're getting one highlighter here, we're getting one highlighter here, and this one here we actually even see a bomb as well. So it's what we're getting at here is we're getting told there were multiple nuclear strikes in Sri Lanka only just on the weekend or the weekend prior, only from the 7th onwards, because they did the Australian cricket team went to Sri Lanka, and they're telling us that's when this attempt was. Now one thing you will see over in this section here, you will see, well, there, that's good, coming out now. I'll get that into a light where you can see the guy's head. He's wearing a turban. It's a royalty. It's a royalty of the Sri Lankan royalty. Here you see a guy's face come back out here with a black eye. So we know that the people behind it are these people that walk around with a black eye, like Richard Branson would be one. So to be worrying whether there's been a boat over here, you know, one of those P&O, I know he doesn't know that one, but certainly the P&O boat that was in our shores, it certainly brought in nuclear weapons into our shore. Has there been a P&O boat show up here anywhere? I don't know. It does imply on another part of the rock that it was a small boat that brought these nukes in here, or was met with nukes. But you certainly see in this video that portion up there, which turns into, like I said, a guy's head, and he looks like he's royalty. He looks like he's you know, an Asian fella. I want to say Asian, I meant, you know. And about there is where we see him start to come through. He's like a Sri Lankan king. He's got a crown on his head and everything like that. It doesn't look real good when I photograph the TV here. That's where you get the black eye here. The black eye comes around this guy's face. And like I said, the Black Eye Club, they're sort of implying that they've brought the nukes over to this one as well. There's a big city right in the middle here of Sri Lanka. So our highlighted points are here, here, here and over here. And they line up with exactly where the major cities are. This is once again a very interesting video, this one. I'll just minimise that and hide that. And I'll just let this play. You can see why I stop where I do sometimes when you see that type of imagery just with the normal microscope light. And like I said, I know it's not real clear here. I'll insert one of these for you at the end. But I see this sort of shape, and it already looks like somebody's face, so you're going to stop there. I wanted to put this one here just to show you that this looks like there's another boat involved here. In fact, this boat has round, you know, round things on the top of it, like a gas boat, or those ones that deliver gas. They normally have round things across, like this, across the top of them. So whether or not they've come in under that way, I don't know. The imagery that one shows you in real, it's actually unreal. That's only 5 minutes, that one. I might put that one in as well. But that one also tends to show me that there's boats being used, although at a point it does look like we could be looking at it, Ayers Rock here, and this could be the Great Australian Bight again. So are they saying in this one that they've had another go in the centre of Australia, or down here in Melbourne, that they've tried to hit Melbourne down this end? So who knows? Interesting thing, but I wanted to show you that one as well because I just said, like I said, it had a boat in it. At least it looked like a boat, this part here. When you've got the rock upside down, it looks like you're seeing the all-seeing eye. The people and faces that come out on this rock are absolutely mind-blowing. The reason why I wanted to show you that is to say to you, okay, well, we haven't really shown you anything that proves that Sri Lanka. I'm going to show you this one. This is the one I believe tells us without doubt it's Sri Lanka. This would be, like I said, at the moment the Australian cricket team's on tour there, and you can get this to a point, and I will try and, I actually should have written down the time that I get this right. This is the big rock with the buildings up on top of it, which is at Sri Lanka. And here is where we're actually getting made with the shadow here. No? I'll go along here a bit because I moved that a bit. I think I moved that over that rock. I'll just see that I do. Here we're actually getting a cricketer bowl the ball. What you're actually seeing, you're seeing a skier, a cricketer run in like this, and you've got this highlighter there. That's a stump getting knocked out of the ground, and they're all going, how's that? There's another one there that makes it even clearer than that. So that one there is the bowler with the stump knocked out of the ground, and his actions here are over the top with his arm. You can see his arm coming up here like this. The other one is this one. And like I said, the Australian cricket team are there at the moment, so it would be without doubt that they're talking about attempted nuclear strikes at Sri Lanka again. Why you would try such a thing after you've tried so many times already and it's failed, one wonders. I'm going to just move this along here a bit quicker so we're not... Now this is where we get the batsman in here, swinging his bat. I'll move this across here. This is where our batsman comes out here. I'm going to move this along a bit so I can get where the ball's in shot as well, going over this way. A bit, I move that this way, and there we can have our batsman, hitting the ball here. I'll just move along a bit there so I can get that as best I can. You also note that actually right there is where it turns into a bomb, as we were showing you before, where you get the round, you can get a wick on it there, see? So this is where the bomb is. They're saying that well, I guess it's at the cricket ground, you know? Is that what we're saying? Is that what they're telling us? But right there is where you're actually getting the batsman playing his shot, knocking the ball out of here. Isn't that amazing? That's how you know where it is actually, where they're at. Australia are playing cricket there at the moment. So that is without doubt what we're getting told on this rock, that there are nuclear bombs being placed in Sri Lanka. Also note that his head comes up with all these spikes around it there, just like we've seen before, where they put a round ball. And that's where it's telling us. We've had a bowler and a batsman here. Whether that's actually a bowler, it could be a bowler I suppose, but the other one looks more like a bowler stance. That one looks like he's bashed it with his bat and it's going that way. But isn't that amazing that you would get that sort of information? I'll just let that play out a little bit. Now this is the one I'll put in full at the end of the video. Mostly I really got that nice and clear. It looks like, once again, like a monkey's face. It doesn't look as clear when I'm doing this, I do realise that. This is the one I'll put in full at the end of the video so you can get it as best quality as I get it anyway. If I go along here a little bit, you can see here's where you start to see his features come out here. It's almost like he's a, whether that's a line or it's very an unusual thing. I move it over here a little bit so I get more centered on that portion. And there's a couple of people's faces in here. But I'll put that in as clear, as good as I can get it. And there's some very interesting stuff on this rock, I can tell you that now. You'll also see that you get other shapes in here as well, like the Lion's Head mountain itself with in this portion here. Okay, so as I move the light around, it changes, and you'll see sometimes it will be a face, but other times it'll be a structure. You know. So I just wanted you to be aware. That's the one I'll put in at the end, and we'll have a look at our pyramid now. So now back to our pyramid. I have shown you this before many times. It is, I'm not saying it isn't doing what I said it does. In other words, record the speed and of the tilted axis like this. Our timing markers here are the impacts. This one here is the bottom of South America. This one here is Central America. This one here is the creation of the Mediterranean. And this one here are all the impacts that separate Australia from Asia. When I look at this, and I know from the Serapeum, the movement of this first impact here knocks the planet up 100 miles. The other ones that hit in the Mediterranean push it down 500 miles. But the Australian ones that happened shortly after stopped the downward motion and put the planet on its tilted axis cycle for 6,000 years. When this happens, the Earth is standing straight, going around the Sun in a clockwise direction. That's what was happening. It was spinning on its axis anti-clockwise, and still is. But this whole process in 6,000 years is to change a straight planet going that way around the Sun, which is clockwise, back to a straight planet coming this way. This straightening of the axis here is 33 minutes. It would kill everybody. That's why they come back. That's why this is so big. But by any stretch of the imagination, as I've already told you, the 2,000-year cycle that creates this behaviour on our planet at the moment, with these men and women doing these unspeakable things with these children, it is just unheard of. But it is, in actual fact, only 2,000 years of the entire solar cycle of 337,000 years that problem exhibits itself. The whole cycle here for the rest of it is nothing to do with that. It's to do with us, aging us, making us look far older in our galaxy here than we do. That's why the Earth is rolled left, right and centre here, beyond the other boundaries, beyond Mars, the degradation of elements. All of these lessons that we're getting to this point are there for a reason. And the reason is that I believe we're being told here, as I said to you, that we know that the planet is knocked up 100 in the first instance, but it's knocked down. But what do we see with the Queen and King's chamber? We see an arrow at the top. They're both referring upwards here. So I don't think that message there is that. I actually think what happened is they tried to do very similar things that they do with our cycle. If I go back to the star array, if I bring our star array back up and say, okay, well, our star at the moment is in transition. It's going to become a 1. Okay, and I would expect from this that many people have to leave Earth. About just over 3 billion go there, and just under 4 billion stay here. If they tried to do the same thing as this in the original galaxy, but more towards the centre, in other words, what we've got going around the outside of here is 3 red dwarf stars. They're aging bluffing the system as such. They may have tried to do this in the centre of the galaxy, their galaxy. And in doing so, what they've done is create a problem here where these red dwarf stars that were cycling around this thing, giving us and creating these ages, in actual fact, started a process on star X here, which is a major problem, caused the problem. I actually reckon they created a black hole right in the middle of the galaxy they came from. So now if we come back to our pyramid and just run that by the pyramid and see if it's telling us such a thing, because I believe it is. I think this is why we're seeing these arrows upwards. I think they actually didn't get a leap of faith as such. They got to a point of where they had to come through the black hole whether they wanted to or not, because it was actually devouring their galaxy. And they've started a black hole doing the same type of process. It's then pulled the galaxy in. At the time of this building of the pyramid, they're saying to us, yeah, well, okay, there's this much of it come through the black hole already, but there's this much mass still left on the other side. When we come across here and we look at our movement here, we're sure we know that what happened here in respect how the comets were delivered. But what we're seeing here, if we're talking about that being the width of a galaxy, their galaxy, they're saying, okay, well, what we did was we waited until we got to here. So we're at a third of the galaxy's gone, and then they've jumped through. Because they had to. They had to find out what's on the other side. They would have had to have a go. There would have been a lot of unanswered questions here. Where's the rest of the galaxy going? They would have had to move any people that were living in closer to the centre of this galaxy out to the extremities of the galaxy. That's what I'm saying. These are moved back up here because this is the extremities of the galaxy, and they're shrinking in like this as the galaxy is being pulled through the black hole. I swear that's what that lesson is telling us. I really do. I think it's going to be right. And that would explain why, when they got to the other galaxy, go straight to the outside where we are now, and they're running us with the oldest particles. So they may have waited here millions of years for this to actually happen. Now if we look at the crop circle that I have on the screen at the moment, I believe we're actually being told in this crop circle quite a lot actually in respect to what I've just told you about. In other words, the galaxy is being drawn through the black hole. In this instance, in the crop circle, the black hole will be the circle in the middle. The three circles on the outside at the top would reflect to me more than one visit. In other words, that they've come, if you look back towards the centre and on the right side, and just after the 3 o'clock position there, you'll see a dot. So I think they're actually telling us here that they came across early, that early, when the galaxy was only just forming on this side, and found the problems they had. If we look back at the top then and see the other two circles are increasing in size, they're telling us about another movement back here many millions of years later, and how long it took them to get rid of the problems. So in other words, they would have come over, they would have tried to live within the environment and realised the problems they had, one of which was giving birth to children, because I think the outcome of that, having come through the human attachment to a 600 million year evolutionary path, was no longer there, and this is the result of our children right here. That this is why we see the apes within our historical tree here, or family tree. We didn't evolve from apes, it's they were the birth, the outcome of having birth in a brand new galaxy with no historical content in our DNA. And I would expect this is why the DNA, or why our fused first and second chromosomes took place, for exactly this reason, to create the hereditary paths in our DNA that were no longer existent. I would also note, like I said, see that the other two circles are larger in respect to the first, that they've come here twice, once to
get the problems and sort them out and understand what they were, they would have had to taken some of their children, apes, back with them, because that was their children. So I can understand why they've left them exist still, so that we can realise, well, they can realise too, the mistakes, dabbling in areas you shouldn't, can bring. That's what I'm suggesting here. So they come back, and the second circle at the top of the second largest circle is saying, okay, we came back here with a minimal amount of people. We sorted out the issues. We've got most of them sorted. We're going to go back home and let everybody know. So they go back through the black hole, and then they bring the rest of the people through. And I would imagine there may still be some people left in the other galaxy, because that's why we don't see that full circle on the largest of the circles. It's 1/4, 1/4 of it. But that also could be reflective not just of people, but roughly the amount of galaxy, or how much more mass is required. If we look on the outer side of the circle then and see all the mode portion, if you want to call it that the mode portion or flattened portion on the outside is how much more mass has to come through the black hole for it all to be completed. We also look at the steps in the winds that we see, that being the record of how much of the galaxy had moved through the black hole in each of the steps. I would say that they represent approximately 1 million years each. So if we count from the outer to the inner, we've got about 10 million years. And if we looked at our the age of what we perceive apes to be, although like I said, it's a bit difficult, not that you ladies and gentlemen that work in those fields are wrong, it's that you have been fed fed rubbish as well, just as much as I have. In your fields you deal with things that have been modified very greatly by these managed cycles of Earth, Moon and Sun, with these red dwarfs speeding around the stars, in actual fact creating the environment of age in lots and lots of elements, not just humans, but creating an age of 300, 400, 500 million years in a galaxy that's only about 13 million years old. So I would expect that that's what we're being told in this, without doubt, that is reflecting exactly the same story that I've told you exists within the pyramids. Well, that does finish our lesson to a degree. We ponder the fact that when we look at the Yeti or the chimpanzee and know that, well, the chimpanzee has 2 less chromosomes, and we certainly know humans have a first and second chromosome fused. Somewhere between a Yeti and a monkey and us, there's certainly no missing link. You've actually been looking at them in the mirror every day, all you scientist guys. Reality, that's what we're being told, that it's more than likely a lot of these skulls that we see of people that we perceive are many, hundreds of thousands of years old, are not. They're actually the remnants of what would have been us had we not have done something about the problem. So it could be, like I said, that the first and second chromosomes being added to the human genome, or in actual fact to get over that problem, as well as a host of other issues that would have been in respect the elements themselves. And this would be why there was more than likely one trip. It's hard to know whether the whole lot went back. The pyramid does, in the centre portion, sort of say, well, look, there's one bunch gone and they've come back with the problems and we resolve them and then we move through the whole. That makes sense to me, because it would also lead to the understanding of why we went through this process of speedy, a speedy birth process, because it is that birth process where they go into making people breed far quicker, in other words, all year round type thing, as opposed to where we're heading now. That is actually where the problem was caused, that caused the issue with these men and women on our planet now, that think, killing children and drinking their blood and all such things becomes somehow in their mental psyche an acceptable behaviour. But once again, ponder, as if you looked on my channel, you would find a whole series of videos about nuclear attacks. There are things written on the rocks that indicate nuclear attacks. if I insert this image for you here and circle on the right side, you actually see a bomb going off. And there was a submarine in this picture right across it. That's exactly, this was talking about an attack that was supposed to be in Sydney Harbour. What I'm saying to you in the last rock and the rock images that I've just shown you, we have cricketers playing cricket. I'll tell you one thing, over in Australia here, if you're playing backyard cricket, which is where we all start, if you hit it over the fence, you're out. It's a 6 all right, but you're out. You lose the chance to bat anymore. To be honest with you, I would expect that's a pretty good message on that rock for time is up, and even the next lot that came in, especially in Australia here, certainly have not made any difference whatsoever, because I've had, like I said, a previous video I put up about an attempted nuclear attack in the very town I live in. One delivered up and put under the bridge up here in William. That too was being removed. So I don't know, when you stop and think about human psyche, that means they've had 6 attempts at global nuclear holocaust and all of them failed. Understand what that means. Imagine having it all happen. You've tried 3 times, and each and every time all the bombs that you've put out in place have all been removed or disabled. And to come back and do exactly the same thing a 4th, 5th and a 6th time. That is like, it's beyond stupid, I can tell you now. I just am amazed at that stupidity of a group of people that would try such a thing so many times when they know they're on the losing side here. These people know what we're going to do thousands of years before we do it. That does bring me to the end of this video. What I will do though, as I promised, I will post to you, I will post at the end of this video a full video in good quality that came from the very same rock I showed you at the very start of the video. Because some of the imagery I've had off that rock is absolutely amazing, but I will put that on just so you can get a good quality, at least a taste of it. If I sat here and put them all on here, you'd be looking at a screen with light moving for quite some time. They're not always immediately obtained, and sometimes you have to be there and fiddle quite a while with your light and be very, very accurate with its angle. You have to be very accurate with the light and patient and move it around very slowly up and down and change different angles to get the imagery that you really want to seek. And like I said, the best way to do that, if you're going to do that with a video that I attach onto the end of here, I don't mind you getting YouTube downloaded and downloading it. I use VLC Media Player. You've got a reasonably quick system. You can just put it on pause and go frame by frame by frame across, and you will see things that you'd miss otherwise. If you just let it all play, you will miss bits. Okay, so be aware that that's a very good process to get the very good imagery that you see in some of these pictures you're seeing now. You'll note that this video is also the same name. It's not part 2, it's session 2. Only because I actually put that last video up and had both the rock at the start removed and the end where I put video created and edited by Brian Whitten. That it was gone as well, so my computer was offline. They seemed to tell you your job wasn't finished, Brian. You still got something else to put in that lesson. And I think that meaning was the understanding of the crop circle that I've put in this video wasn't in the last one of these videos. So I would say that that's what I needed. It was something else to back up what I was saying and understanding the time frame. So somewhere, like I said, the monkey and the yeti fit into our movement here. It actually was part of the problem, and that's what I needed, that as well as the crop circle confirming what we were saying, that the movement of the galaxy through the black hole is what they had to contend with, and they've managed to do so, and that's why we sit on the outer of this galaxy going through this process of aging elements of of our surrounds. It's not just us, it's every life form on our planet, and I would expect every life form and every bunch of people that exist on other planets as well. It may, like I said, this 337,000 year solar cycle, maybe not all of it, but certainly the part we need to know to work out what we needed to know. We may end up being something like that 370, 380,000 or 380 million years old. I would expect might be what we look like when we roll out of the cycle as such. Anyway, that's all for me. Like I said, I'll leave a video attached at the end here so you can watch that. And thank you very much for your attention. And thanks everybody else for passing things my way that for some reason or other, I just know what they mean when I see them. And I would expect that's crop circles, another one of those things that was easily understood when you know the rest of the story. Thanks very much. This is Brian Whitten and ETR. Bye-bye.